It is all good. David McRae is the state treasurer and almost playing the role of Santa Claus in the days to come. There is a lot of money that is going to be returned, reallocated, distributed to Mississippians for a lot of different reasons. Let me let you explain about this process.
Yeah, and we can go into it a lot more detail in a little bit, but it will be returned. I think that's the right term. I like that better. What it is, we about a year ago, we started contracting with a new company that would allow us to do automatic returns back to people in Mississippi. So what I mean by that is instead of going to the website and searching at treasury.ms.gov, we would just send a check out to people who we know where they live. So we started last week, and the checks are going out this week. Okay. Of government checks, so your tax return, tax refunds, things of that have gotten lost and returned back over to the State Treasury. And it's about tens of millions of dollars to hundreds of thousands of people. And those checks are in the mail today. And without even having to go to the website, they will be in someone's mailbox that is the rightful owner. And it is a legit government state-issued check from the state of Mississippi with my name on a letter and my name on the envelope. And It is something we want people to cash and use for, keeping with the theme of Christmas, use for Christmas and buy that Bane jacket you were talking about.
There you go. Lance,
I'm digging around on it right now, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, Lance, you better make sure that that Treasurer McRae has your mailing address, that it doesn't get lost in the mail along the way. Is there a way for people to know if there is a check that is coming to them, or is this just, hey, you need to keep your eyes peeled and see if it comes to the mailbox?
This is one that you just need to keep your eyes peeled for the mailbox. And you can still go to the website, treasury.ms.gov, and search your name, business, friends, family, and alert your friends and family. But if it's your business or you can still go to the website, claim it there, and we'll give it. These checks range only from $50 to $5,000. And so we put a setting on it so that it wouldn't do that, higher. So, it doesn't mean if you just get a check, I still recommend going to the website and checking if you have more. And this is just the first phase of probably about 5 phases that are going to be stretched out over the several months. And this first phase is government checks, because those are the easiest to know who actually has money. It's the right address, right people, right things. Then the next phase will incorporate government checks and other type of checks like deposits, bank accounts, and things of that nature. We won't be including wills and estates and things of that are far more complicated to figure out because they have heirs, and it's just difficult. So these are easy to find checks, and we wanted to do this. When I got elected in 2019, one of my main promises was to make government more efficient, make it better. And this was the first step, was to put all this online so that you could find yourself easier online, make it easier online. And now this is kind of the second step of that, is that, hey, this is your money. It's not the government's money. I don't want it. I don't think the Mississippi government wants it. And we want to give it back to you. And at the end of the day, it's going to help the economy.
All right, so that actually brings up an interesting question. So if there's millions of dollars that is sitting there that is owed to people for whatever reason, whether they overpaid property taxes or they overpaid income taxes to the state, or for whatever reason, and it is unclaimed and it remains unclaimed for some period of time, what ultimately happens to that? Does it just sit in an account somewhere and the state is able to benefit from the interest that's gained? Does it go in a shoebox somewhere? Like what eventually happens with that money if it remains unclaimed?
And that's a great question, because that's one I get asked a lot, because some states do actually have a statutes of limitations on it. Like Florida, it's roughly like 10 years, I think. But in Mississippi, unless it's a government check, it will sit there in perpetuity, meaning forever. So, I mean, long after everybody's gone, it will still be there in the state coffers of Mississippi, as long as it's not a government check. You have a certain amount of time with a government check to get that cash received, cashed, and back. Otherwise, it goes into the general fund of Mississippi. Otherwise, to answer your second part of that, the money that's just sitting there in perpetuity, it's going to gain interest over time, and the state can use it, Treasury can use it, anybody can. We use it to pay interest back to people, things of that nature.
Well, that makes sense, at least. I mean, as opposed to it just sitting in an account where nothing can happen to it, at least use that money and have that work proactively, even if it never gets turned away.
Well, I think it's also fair that we don't seize it after several years, like, the regular money, not the government check money. But,
Right.
We don't seize regular people's money after a while. I think it's only fair. I mean, who knows what heir is going to come down the line, miss, the notification that grandma died or someone died, and then all of a sudden, not be eligible for that money anymore. I don't think that's quite right. We have people, I'll give you a great example. We had a claim that was given back to us probably 10 years ago, about 13, 14, maybe 12, so a little over 10 years ago. And it was a veteran. And he had died, and his heirs all lived out of state. There's 3 of them, and they all lived out of state. There, we found it and found their money because we're very proactive. We don't normally wait for people to call us. We actively have people calling, and so we found about $1.3 million for these people.
Oh, wow.
And his heirs just live in 3 different states. So it would have been complicated for them to figure out that, hey, they had some money here, and they didn't know. They just didn't know. So we cut them a check, and that's that.
Very, very good.
So,
I mean, this is really simple. Like, I just went to the website, treasury.ms.gov, right? Is that the right one?
Yep, .gov.
treasury.ms.gov. And typed in my name, and hey, it's under $100, but there's something right there, so it's worth checking out.
We want
That's really simple.
Well, I joke all the time. It's so simple, my father can do it. So, and it's true. I mean, he's not the most technologically advanced person, but he can do it, and that's the way we wanted to do it. I mean, you can still do it the tried and true pen and paper way, but you got to get a notary. With this version, all you have to do is go fill in a couple fields and to show it's you, and all that, and
Sure.
And it's yours. I mean, within 14, we try quickly 14, but, we have a backlog, so it takes a little bit more time to do it. And depending on the case, I mean, if it's a deposit like a utility, cable, and all that, that's easy. We can get those out the door pretty quick. But wills, estates, life insurance, which we're finding a lot of life insurance policies lately, oddly enough. But life insurance, things like that, those take a little bit more time because they have heirs and beneficiaries and things of that nature. So that those just take a little bit more time, and we advise anyone calling us and alerting us of that.
And so, David, if you have a parent or a grandparent that has passed away, it would be worthwhile to search their names as well if you were the heir, and would be right. I mean, so it would make sense for me to look for my grandparents' names and my parents' names and make sure that there's nothing missing there.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and if you're listening and you're part of a charity, you go and you should look too. So, I mean, we've had tons of charities have that happen.
Wow. You got time to hang for a couple more minutes?
Oh, would love to.
We're going to continue our conversation with David McRae, State Treasurer here in Mississippi. We'll talk college savings on the other side of this break. We are coming up on the holiday season, and you want to talk about a great gift, maybe starting a fund or adding to an existing fund. We'll talk about how that's working through the State Treasurer's office. This is the Gallo Radio Show on SuperTalk Mississippi. Quick time out. We're back with you right after this. Gallo Radio Show, SuperTalk Mississippi. Richard Cross in for Paul, Lance in the studio, and David McRae, our guest. He is the State Treasurer here in Mississippi. I got to tell you, that was kind of fun during the break, playing with the Finder and kind of looking around and trying different combinations. And there is a signifier on the amount, over $100, under $100. Is that as detailed as that gets? So
it is.
Okay.
It really is. We wanted to keep it private. I mean,
sure,
because we didn't want someone. I mean, like when someone wins the lottery, you always find 12 new cousins that you didn't know you had.
Exactly.
And we want to keep that private. Some states don't do that, but again, I value privacy, and especially for individuals, we want them to come and claim the money. And if we put the rightful amount, I think that would just create problems. But
no, I completely understand that.
Interestingly enough, it's a plus and a minus. I mean, I have a lot of people around the state going, "Oh, well, it just says over 100. It can't be that much." And they'll come and claim it, and it's 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, 800,000. I mean, just because it says over 100 doesn't mean it's going to be like $101. I mean, it could be a lot of money. And we also have more that we don't put quite out on the website, so that when you call us and you have it, we'll just bundle it all together, and you could actually have more than what we actually display.
Gotcha. So it is worth the effort.
It is far worth the effort, especially in this day and age. You know, I mean, things cost more, and things are going to continue to cost more regardless of what's going on. Inflation, groceries, they're never going to lower in price.
Yeah.
So, I mean, inflation might, but groceries aren't. And, things cost more. Christmas is coming, and anybody that has under 100, I would strongly recommend. I mean, when you have $50 in your pocket, that's something you didn't have yesterday. I mean, it's about to be winter coat season.
There you go. You might be like Lance, looking for one with a shearling collar. David McRae is the state treasurer here in Mississippi. Let's talk college savings a little bit. There are people who still think of the college savings plan in Mississippi as impact. It's what it was for a really, really long time. That certainly has changed over the years. There was a recalibration of that system. But whether it's through MACS or something else that you choose, talk to us a little bit about the importance of that college investment now versus waiting until you have a kid that actually is in college.
So up until January, it used to be called college savings. We expanded the mission to be called college and career savings. Under the Trump tax cuts in 2017, he expanded the 529 programs, which are the college savings programs, to include vocational training and tools with vocational training and everything that's associated with a 2-year college. And so we decided that it would be best to start, really Mississippi needs more workers. So how could we help at the Treasury? So we expanded that mission to career savings, meaning that you can still use your Impact, which is the prepaid version, or the Max, which is kind of a checking account version, and we'll get into those in just a second. But you can also use it for a 2-year college, any of the community colleges. And if you want to go into a trade like welding, diesel mechanics, things of that nature, we will pay. It pays for the tools of all that. So you're saving for your child's future. The average child graduates with $35,000 worth of debt, whether that's a 4-year college, 2-year college, or whatever. We want to make sure a child has no debt. But also Mississippi, with all the businesses coming, and you see it, Richard, across the board, all the businesses coming to Mississippi. Tate just had the governor just had a big announcement for more stuff to come. And down the line, more will come. We need more workforce. I mean, the Mississippi Chamber of Commerce wants 30% more workforce within the next 10 years. So we want to try to help that with a college savings plan. So we have 2 plans. We have a prepaid plan, which you get right. The best time to get it is up to 3rd grade. 4th is questionable, but 3rd or 4th grade, you can get them any time. But the benefit is up to that point, and that pays for college, whatever it is today. It will cost the same when your child's ready to go to college. So it costs $1 a day, costs $1 tomorrow. The Max plan is a very flexible plan. It is kind of like a checking account. You can put in as little as $25, and it builds over time with interest and returns and things of that nature. But it's far more flexible, whereas the Impact plan you need to use for like in-state schools. The Max plan can be used for out-of-state schools, room and board, tuition. It's very, very flexible. That's why I call it kind of a checking account program.
So I know this is a question that you've gotten probably more times than you can count, but I think it's one of the most common questions as well. If you choose to use the in-state plan, and that's how you save, where you're prepaying for college in Mississippi, but you have a child that has an independent streak and says, you know what, I don't want to go to school at a public school in Mississippi. I want to go to a private school in Tennessee or a public school in Oklahoma. What then happens to that money?
Well, on the website at treasury.ms.gov, you can go to the college savings portion, and there is a formula, and it's a long formula that explains how you can still use your prepaid money, but you're not going to get the full benefit. The whole point of these plans, how they were set up, was to get the benefit of an in-state education. So these prepaid ones, at least. The Max, you can go off wherever you want to go.
Sure.
But the prepaid ones were to help kids stay in Mississippi, go to a Mississippi school, and contribute back to Mississippi in some form or fashion.
But it's not like you lose that money that you've saved.
Well,
It's still going to go to help defer the cost of, if it costs more to go somewhere else than it costs to stay in state, it's still going to help pay that tuition, right?
It will pay it to a point. You're not going to get the full benefit. So you will lose money of what you put in because that's just not how the plan was set up.
Gotcha.
So like I said, there is a formula online at our website. And if you have any questions about it, you can call us up there and any one of my staff members will walk you through it. We have people who do it all the time. Another thing you may be thinking, your child's going to get a scholarship or has a scholarship, but you did a prepaid plan, but you didn't know that 18 years ago.
Sure.
So your child gets a scholarship, and that's great. Well, we have a lot of people holding on to the prepaid plan and the money spent in it. So when they go to get a master's or go get a doctorate or go be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever they want to be, it can be used for secondary education after that.
If you have, let's say your oldest child, maybe you're saving money for all three of your children, and your oldest child has a completely prepaid plan, and they end up on a full scholarship, can you then move that money to a different child and let them be the beneficiary as long as that child's still in your family?
Yes, you can. As long as it's a sibling of yours, you can move it down the line to one of those siblings.
Okay. So there is some flexibility in this. You're not just locked in.
No, you're not locked in with that one child. I mean, of course, you want it to be locked in with that one child if you have to, because
Exactly.
that's what it was meant to be. But, hey, the child may have turned out to be a rocket scientist, and they go off to Ole Miss full ride, state full ride, wherever full ride, and you want to still use that money. Well, maybe the next child is not as good as the first child, and you can use it for them too.
Gotcha.
And switching a little bit, but these plans, for anyone listening today thinking, these plans, are they safe? Are they secure? In this day and age with the market and everything, these plans are extremely secure. We just announced that we got the legacy plan, which was the old plan that got shut down, which was Impact's plan.
Right.
And, there's two Impact plans, Legacy and Horizon. And the Legacy is for everybody pre-2013. And then Horizon's everybody post-2013.
Sure.
So follow along. And the Legacy plan, when I took office, was roughly in the 70s funded, and it had problems. When I took over, I made it a mission, and we have now gotten that to 100.1% funded. It is safe, secure, and if you have a legacy plan, know that your child will be able, without fear of losing that plan, go to college.
Can I get my two older kids in the youngest kids in that legacy plan as well? Because those were, you want to talk about the way, if you looked at those numbers 10, 12, 15 years ago and what it was costing you on a monthly basis compared to what it is now, that may be your starkest realization of how much the cost of higher education is rising.
Well, yeah. You used to say you can only guarantee two things in life, death and taxes. I can guarantee you college tuition will go up. It's the only guarantee in life I can guarantee. I think the major institutions in Mississippi raised their tuition except Jackson State.
Okay.
I think all the rest of them did. So obviously, if you just had a child today, tuition's going to go up in 18 years. How much? I don't know. But it's going to go up. Inflation and everything else, and the price of education is always going to rise. So these plans are great. The Horizon plan, I talk about the legacy plan being fully funded, 100% funded. The Horizon plan is 135% funded. So these are safe plans to get into. If you worry that they're going to crash and burn, they're not. They are great, and I treat them like my own. And I've really worked hard, and my team has worked hard to make sure that the people in Mississippi who invest in these plans know full well that they will get the benefits.
So you don't just have nothing but Bitcoin to fund those. No, in terms of the investment, I know we've only got like 30 seconds left.
It's Doge.
It's safe.
It's Dogecoin. What are you talking about?
There you go. Oh, we'll see how it goes. They are safe investments. We'll leave it there. Treasurer David McRae, thanks so much for your time this morning. Good to see you.
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you.
This is the Gallo Radio Show on SuperTalk Mississippi. Go to that website, treasury.ms.gov. treasury.ms.gov to see if there is any money of yours that is out there that can be sent to you. We'll be back right after this.